platforms: YouTube UTV 124, Facebook UTV 124, Instagram UTV 124, Twitch UTV 124, TikTok UTV_124, and Flow TV channel 124. Remember, UTV, TV for you.
I can't stay.
Oh, manger ça. Ouais, comment manger là? Moi, encore ici. Ici, on est tout bail. Ici, on est machin. Il est carouette. Il est tout bail. Pour journée que le manger ici à Bassani. So, on a encore là pour le jour. Et moi, j'ai goûté un petit machin.
Saltfish, local bread, cucumber and pear. I can't say it in patois, sorry.
Manger nous ni lapin, nous ni cochon, nous ni poab, nous ni boapin, nous ni zaboka, nous ni farine avec zaboka. Oh, l'eau manger créole nous ni.
Compagnie qui sort au français, mais à parler la vérité, yo play à foyer tous ces bourgeois, yo pas veut nous parler patois. Compagnie qui
So you're selling black pudding?
Yes, baby, I'm selling black pudding.
Oh, nice. So can I have a look to see?
Very tasty, all the seasoning. Spring onion, we got basically everything inside. It's very tasty with a lot of pepper, it's a little spicy. We mix it, excuse me? No, it's blood. We mix in the blood with, yeah. It's pork blood, yeah. Pork. It's very tasty, baby. You want to have a little sample of it?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. Bon fête, Koyo. The reason why this is so funny is I've watched this so many times and I still laugh because when the guys are singing the songs about Kisaki Mall and Kisaki Nipuwet or whatever, always entertaining still. But it's a second fella, I don't know if he was trying to chat or whatever. Yes, baby, I make it back for Oi, I chat. Okay. Thank you guys for joining us. If you are listening to us on radio, on Hits FM 92.1 and 91.1. Also, if you are watching us on television on channel 124 on Flow. And of course, if you're watching on the different social media platforms, where are we again? On Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, all of it. Thank you very, very much. Like I said, and I didn't want to get into the other issues without, dealing with that. And yeah, it's, it makes you think of a simpler time, to just go out. And it's so strange too to see things without people wearing masks and, people sharing food. You're like a romantic, you're like a come bagay, and you're not thinking of, COVID, and I just, I miss that. And even now, I saw something where the Prime Minister is saying, people asking where is Janae Quayle, and people, it's on Zoom. That is what we have to look forward to. But even as, it's going to not be what we know, not be the, that kind of outgoing thing that we love. I just want to take that time to just remember a simpler time. And a lot of people look at Janae Quayle, and a lot of it is the food, and that for me is big too. I see nobody. I have gone all over the country. He is the best. And when I think of Janae Quayle, I think of that. But more than anything else, I think of the music. And every Janae Quayle, I don't know what it is. My family, we're all mostly women. Pojab, my father, and my mother, my sisters, my grandmother, my aunties, my cousins, all women will come, and there's one song that we all love, that we will all sing, and I just never think of Janae Quayle without listening and hearing it. And it also gave us a sort of social commentary of what was going on at the time and even what goes on now. And I like how bold-faced it is. I like the creativity, and I like how it transcends time. I like that kind of stuff. So let's listen to that before we really get into the issues. Like I said, it's one of those things that, really, I don't know what about it that my family likes so much. Well, I kind of do. But you should hear us. Oh, the chorus is good. Okay, so let's get into the issues. We have spoken about a lot from the very beginning, and now, as it's ending. I think the word that I think maybe I've overused, some people might say that, is empathy and compassion, that kind of thing, and really putting yourself in people's shoes. And when you start to see how when people do not care, you can see the results of it. You can see the consequences, the repercussions, what other things are being affected when people do not care. And this is where we will begin. And the SSDF being one of those organizations, one of those state organizations that are really there to assist with social transformation. But even with the new administration, we got some facts, we got some news that for some it wasn't too surprising, but it still just continued to show us the kind of people we were dealing with in the last election.
Like I've told you in the past, we send a lot of barrels of school supplies pretty much all over the island. And I have one that I'm going to send, the last one for the season, to Sufra.
Stimulus money, $650,000 worth, according to Equity Minister Joachim Henry, was dished out in less than 2 weeks, 3 days before the July 26 general election. Leonard Montoute, the United Workers' Party's defeated Grosley candidate and former Equity Minister in the previous Shashney-led administration, is succeeded by Joachim Henry. Henry, during his maiden Parliament address on August 31st, revealed the paper trail leads back to the government-run St. Lucia Social Development Fund, or SSDF. Leonard Montoute, like Joachim Henry in his capacity as Equity Minister, has direct oversight over the SSDF.
$650,000 was expended in one constituency, the constituency of Grosley, within a 10-day period, July 14th, July 24th, just 3 days ahead of the 2021 general elections. Is this concerning, Mr. Speaker? Absolutely. And whilst I will not delve into the nature of the expenditure at this time, certainly such actions cannot be condoned within the framework of good governance. It also raises the important issue of fairness, equitable distribution of scarce resources, as well as the need for operating procedures and guidelines for delivery of such programs.
The SSDF-sponsored stimulus spending spree in the Grosley constituency during Leonard Montoute's tenure has been flagged by Joachim Henry and is reportedly under investigation. Henry disclosed the volume of the questionable SSDF stimulus payout, and the processes authorizing the transaction has prompted an internal review.
In this regard, I am pleased to indicate that ahead of the budget submissions for the fiscal year 2022-23, I have commenced dialogue with my permanent secretary and key heads of agencies and departments on a new policy direction of the ministry and the necessary reform to enhance operations. And so, Mr. Speaker, as we continue to review, critically assess our core businesses, we commit to embracing the requisite changes for improved efficiency and effectiveness, to ensuring that we will remain accountable and transparent, and that we will facilitate the adoption of appropriate procedures.
Exceeding 25,000 inhabitants, the Grosley constituency is St. Lucia's most populated. Joachim Henry, however, has expressed doubt the $650,000 in taxpayer-funded stimulus money was spent on government-supervised projects or allocated to approved agencies to support needy households in Grosley. Leonard Montoute was not immediately available for comment. His defeat at the 2021 polls was statistically the worst of all the UWP's 17 candidates. Rihani Isidore, NBC Prime.
In all of what we have seen, we've spoken a lot about corruption over the year and a half, but this one with SSDF to take money, $650,000 taxpayers' money, and there is nothing right before election. You point larger, you first and I think Joachim has to, go down the road of, not saying anything. I know that there is an investigation. Mais moi-même, nous savons all the bikes and the things that were bought before elections, all of what was being used, people buying gas for others, and all for things like motorcades and campaigning that was happening in Grosley. We know that taxpayers' money was involved in that. My, excuse me, issue is sometimes we say the figures like it doesn't mean anything, but when you do that, when somebody who doesn't care, like Spider and all the rest of them, will take money from people who need it most to make sure that they stay in power, it will put other people at a disadvantage. And for some who may not understand what I'm saying and where I'm going with that, this is just one of those that we know of, one example of the repercussions of what has been done at the SSDF.
Like I've told you in the past, we send a lot of barrels of school supplies pretty much all over the island. And I have one that I'm going to send, the last one for the season, to Soufriere. So I called my friend at SSDF because what usually happens is that I send it in care of SSDF. SSDF collects it, they clear it, and then they deliver it to the schools. So I told my friend that, hey, be on the lookout, I'd like to send this barrel to Soufriere. And she said to me, unfortunately, they cannot clear it this time because they are financially strapped. And when she told me that, I said, oh, I remember back during the election how all their money was being taken by Spider to give to people, to the hacks, all that good stuff. And I said to myself, that is a crying shame. That is a crying shame that the people now financially stuff, and just the fact that they used to be able to just clear a little barrel for me to send to the schools and so on, and now they're financially strapped. Boy, oh boy.
Indeed. It's wrong on so many levels that now there are young children all over the country, and in this particular case there is someone who wants to send down a barrel to help students in Soufriere, and normally, like he said, you've heard that the SSDF would just clear it and then, you know, give it out to the children that need it most. When the SSDF saying they don't even have money to do that, what does that really mean? When there are the young children, students in Soufriere who could have gotten something, who could have been helped with that barrel, now they cannot get it because Spider take all. And people will say, oh, the politics pass already, or win the election, what you'll want again. This is exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who still don't get it, when people talk about justice and they want to see justice for our children, for the things, the people that haven't even been born yet, the people that need the assistance, somebody willing to send something down, and the SSDF don't even have the money to clear it for the students, all because people were desperate to win an election. And did it work? Tout la zopwek zovolia, esi travail. When I continue to speak about the feeling for people and the empathy, yesterday we spoke about it, of the waiver of rent at the CDC, and that sort of reprieve being a good thing. And I try as I might, I tried to see what people could see as the problem, because I know they are creative in finding something wrong and everything, but on that one I say, well, Trisha, there can't be anything wrong. And even when I mentioned, okay, maybe the only thing people could say is that some that were paying would feel it's unfair that, you know, those that weren't paying seem to be rewarded. If that were to be the case, if that was something, then I could understand that. But how could it be wrong to tell people ahead of Christmas and all of that, and all of their debts, you know, forget about it, pay it off, and just pay October and November, and, you know, and you'll be good. The lack of empathy is one thing, but the shamelessness when something is being done to help somebody, when you were there yourself, you didn't do it. And when somebody sees something to be done, they do something, and you now saying it's the wrong thing to do. I find that so shameless, so it baffles me how people could do that. But like I said yesterday, let's just see what has been said by the United Workers' Party since that happened.
Tenants in the CDC apartments have good reason to celebrate this holiday season. The SLP administration is giving them a rent reprieve amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The reprieve will cover up to September 2021. According to Housing Minister Richard Frederick, the gesture is part of the SLP's government's commitment to put the people first.
The government, through the National Housing Corporation, has conceded and agreed to nullify all outstanding debt of all tenants who are currently in occupation of the CDC units, whether residential or commercial, up to the end of September 2021. As a current government, we recognize that the COVID pandemic did not impact on some, but impacted on all.
The deal, however, comes with some conditions which, if met, will see tenants living rent-free for December 2021. But Housing Minister Richard Frederick says, come the new year, tenants will enter into a new agreement.
All tenants must pay their rent for the months of October and November. Pay your rent October, November. Once that is done, the good news is all tenants again would get relief for December. So as long as you pay your rent for October and November, no tenant is expected to pay rent in December. Christmas has come early at the hands of this current government. The other condition is that tenants would have to sign a new lease agreement come January.
Frederick warns that moving forward, no late payments will be accepted, as well as renting out apartments to others through what's called subletting.
Given this reprieve or this waiver, delinquency or non-payment, as we call it colloquially, will no longer be tolerated. Neither will we tolerate subletting. These areas, the residential units and the commercial units, the leases will be placed in the names of the occupants. We have to put a stop once and for all to subletting.
The Housing Minister explained that the government understands the impact that the pandemic has had on livelihoods and incomes. He hopes the occupants will work together with the SLP administration and become responsible tenants. Joachim de Plessis, HTS News Force.
The opposition United Workers' Party has taken issue with the government granting $4.2 million in rent reprieve to CDC tenants. This week, Housing Minister Richard Frederick disclosed that the Philip J. Pierre administration will forgive outstanding rent owed by all tenants of the CDC building units up to the end of September 2021. The reprieve also includes a waiver of the December 2021 rent, given that tenants pay the October and November 2021 lease. Senator Fira Polius argues that the cost in lost rent to the government is too hefty for taxpayers.
Mr. Prime Minister, since you and your troop have been in office, you have demonstrated to St. Lucians mixed connotations of what you really mean by the tagline, putting people first. The Minister for Housing recently announced government's intention to nullify the debts of all tenants of the CDC buildings. Didn't those debts exist way before the pandemic? And why write off all the debts and still intend to waive the full amount for December? While the United Workers' Party applaud the intention to reduce the debt of the CDC tenants, we must admit that this is a hefty amount for the taxpayers of this country to bear.
Polius proposed another option to help the CDC tenants.
Mr. Minister, couldn't you not consider nullifying debts for a year and a half, for example, and ask tenants to pay the outstanding amounts at 50%? And going forward, what would this new lease agreement suggest as the consequence for non-payments? This reprieve, Mr. Minister, must be commended, particularly as it is extended to all and sundry, irrespective of one's political affiliation.
Housing Minister Richard Frederick has warned that moving forward, no late payments will be accepted and tenants are prohibited from renting out their apartments to others.
You see the shamelessness I'm talking about? Now, with Farah, I mean, she's new, I guess, to the game, to the politics, and somewhat of a new face. But it just strikes me as so disappointing every time I see a woman do shit with herself for anyone, for Shasney, for any man, for anybody, for any party, to do shit like that, to come there on national television, put a mic in front of your face, big teacher go, and sit there and say something as asinine as that. And you could tell that the statement didn't even really make sense because she's waffling, she doesn't know what to say, but you have to oppose for opposing's sake. Is this what you consider that at this point you're going to do with your life to make sure that you defend, you find anything because you're a United Workers Party supporter who vinale TV ek di betis ki pa fesas mati any till Maud Shasney? Is this what you would want for yourself? For the shameless non-entities like, what's his name, Champagne and all the others, you're getting paid $500 a month and you're happy to just be kissing ass. That's one thing. For somebody where I know a lot of people respect you. I know even with the campaigns Sean did to say that, you know, you are educated, people look up to you in the community and all of that, and you're looking to represent the community, and this isn't what I believe you should be doing with yourself. But in all of that, to say, you know, why not? Because her option, her suggestions were nullifying debts for a year. The callous thinking that this former administration had, the United Workers Party has, when you see nothing else but to have a United Workers Party press conference to say, you know, doing that to debt, to make sure that Solutions can breathe after COVID, can, you know, put money elsewhere, that they can focus their energies on something else, that is an issue for you. I am tired, but you know what? Richard responded, so let Richard respond to Farah's thing.
I want to ask Farah, Sarah, whatever her name is. How much did you all give to Sandals? $25 million. It never touched the pockets of the average solution. Lockerbie was given $32 million. It never touched the pockets of the average solutions. Tioa King was given a Flabosa, Zorjas, RRR. I mean, if you have nothing to say, Fira, Farah, Sarah, Jara, whatever your name is, just keep your mouth shut. You are coming like the lamb to be slaughtered. It makes no sense. What you're saying makes no sense. We came in, all we have done, you all stop the laptop program, we bring it back. For the first time in the history of this country, we are taking $10.8 million to fix houses for poor people. This has never happened. For the first time, the government is granting rent reprieve of $4.2 million. This has never happened. We will give to all foreigners, but to give to our own people, you, Farah, have a problem with that. And you want to represent our people? Farah, go sleep. Good night. Folks, we on tonight. Can I help you on tonight? I just can't believe it. I felt I should waste no time in basically refuting the BS that I just heard on television coming from the mouth of someone who supposedly represents or wants to represent the people. You know, everything you all want to find fault with the $42 million for Lockerbie. Find fault with the money for Sandals, $24 million. Find fault with the money that Shasta had to pay for not doing the hotel. Find fault with the money for the air-conditioned planes. Don't find fault when as a government we are trying to help our people. I just find some of you, folks, I just started over 500 people on my live. Over 500 people. Because I just hate to a crap. I hate to a crap. The other day I heard Ring the Bell talking some even more crap. Richard, Pavlik, folks, honestly, I don't know. I can't respond to everything. I just can't. But those people need to behave. They need to behave. Criticize, but criticize constructively. I would never, ever, ever criticize Shastney with all the bullshit that he did. Tell me I need to be colloquially correct, probably. But with all the BS that he did, I never criticized him for doing anything for St. Lucians. But he didn't do anything for St. Lucians. It was Tio King. It was Ojo. It was everybody else. Everybody else. Sandals. And you all want to criticize giving our St. Lucians, both Labour and Flambeau, a relief. Can you, and you all are a government of the people? When are you a government of the people, man? Come on. Go home, Fira Ferra. They be no say fair, say la fair. No, honestly, I just felt, folks, I needed to just refute this nonsense I was hearing. I am in the midst of a cabinet that cares. I have a prime minister who understands and feels the pulse of the people, the need of the people. Things were rough. Things were tough. People lose their jobs. COVID. The vendors were forced to close.
I think a lot was said there, saying it in a way that probably I wouldn't be able to, although I think I had some leeway in during the mornings now to say whatever I want. But he is completely right. When all of the millions of dollars being spent on everybody else, or buy tuteas, or buy Tewa Kings, or buy $1 million, y'all do all of what y'all wanted to do, and $4 million to give back to the people, that's a problem. That's a problem for you, and you will do the dirty work of a leader that has no respect for his country or for the people that voted for him. But tell you what really intrigued me was in all of that, in everything that has been tried, and people saying that they're going to try to build their houses in the different communities with this new policy, with the laptops being given, with the facilities fees being paid, with the marijuana new legislation. I find it very strange that people within the United Workers' Party would oppose just for opposing sake. When they wanted to win an election, they realized then, only then, that 5 for 5 and making sure the elderly and the poor and the vulnerable, they need the attention. Remember that when y'all wanted to win, y'all were looking at the people, y'all weren't looking at the millionaires that y'all giving more money already. Y'all were then concerned about the poor people when you wanted to get in. When you wanted to get back in power, you wanted to win an election, which makes me think what these people would have really done if they won. They can talk a big game, but if now you'll have a problem with everything that is being done for people who need it the most, what would you really have done? That 5 for 5, jamais fait. But it is a good reminder for all of us to see what bullshit looks like when it's being led by Alan Shasti, and he's another bullshit con man who will just say what he has to say, and he thought people would fall for it once again. But just so we could understand what's happening now, people have a problem with others don't have to worry about rent, don't worry about some school stuff, don't worry, think about you don't have any money, so try to redirect it in something else. They don't want that now, but just a couple of months ago, they pretended to care about you.
We will deliver 5 important things to you And all we're asking is for you to allow us to continue to finish the job that we started.
Another prospective 5 years, another 5 promises to be implemented within the first 100 days of the new term if the United Workers' Party is re-elected by the St. Lucian voters. Minister for Tourism and MP for Ancillary Canneries, Dominic Fede, dissected the campaign pledge of national health insurance, promising to put an end to the need for family members of individuals in need of medical assistance to depend on fundraising activities to pay for treatment.
The United Workers' Party believes that this is a tremendous injustice to our people. The United Workers' Party believes that it is time to put an end to this reality that confronts our country. And so therefore, we are proposing as part of our 5 for 5, the National Health Insurance Scheme. It has been something we have been diligently working on and are ready to implement for all St. Lucians in our first 100 days when we are elected by the people of St. Lucia at the next general elections. It will deliver up to $75,000 in benefits for each person every year. It will mean our people will be healthier as they can access medical care when they are sick rather than when they can't afford it.
Fede also elaborates on the VAT reduction pledge in the 5 for 5 platform.
It is our proposal in the next 5 years of our term to continue along this path, to continue to implement a simplified tax system across the spectrum, to give businesses a tax that they will be confident in, to give employees a tax that they will get greater jobs, to give businesses the room to pay higher salaries, and to give consumers the wherewithal to be able to afford certain commodities that have become out of reach because of the implementation of the value-added tax.
Meanwhile, Minister with responsibility for social transformation and Grosile MP Leonard Spider Montoute spoke of what unemployment benefits and money for the needy will mean for voters under another UWP administration.
And this program includes benefits for the elderly, single parents, special needs individuals, and the vulnerable. And what we'll be doing in this program is to provide for them up to $75 to go towards their electricity bills, $30 for their water bills, a $200 voucher that they will use for food, and these single parents and vulnerable families with children going to school will also receive educational support vouchers for uniforms, school feeding, and transportation. You will remember that those programs, the school feeding in particular and transportation, were cut or eliminated by the previous administration. That has been reinstated by this administration. But we will continue those programs as part of that Money for the Needy program.
The highly contentious electronic devices for students have been the subject of heated debate on both sides of the political divide. Minister for Education and Miku North MP, Dr. Gail Rigobert, homed in on the campaign promise to save parents money on the cost of school books by embracing technology.
The aspirational goal is that in time, that students will have a device with the material on there. And why is that important, especially now? We all know what it costs parents in books and learning material. In some cases, upward of $1,000 per child, depending on the grade, depending on the age, depending on the school and subject choices. And therefore, again, in the spirit of the various policies that we've articulated today, we're endeavoring to save families that money.
The 5 for 5 has been hailed as the centerpiece of the main policy agenda of the United Workers' Party in the 2021 election campaign. Critics have dismissed the proposal as nothing more than a repackaged version of the 5 to Stay Alive slogan of the 2016 election cycle. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.
I'll tell you this, I don't think I remember being as disappointed with any kind of political party when I saw that 5 for 5. It just seems so much like bullshit, like there wasn't any thought put to that. But then you saw them dancing awkwardly, and then you also heard Spider lying because the school feeding program was never stopped under the SLP. So that's another lie. And for Spider himself, speaking of the needy, being in charge of the SSDF, being in charge of the people, the vulnerable people, to know then that 600, I'll not get over that $650,000 being taken right before elections, and you just seen scooters buying. 16 scooters were bought days before an election for Spider's supporters. Well, I don't know if it's supporters, but the fellas get their bikes, bike life, the fellas get their bikes on taxpayers' head because Spider allowed it to happen. And right now, what we're seeing, as we've seen before, was that people who want to help cannot even help because the SSDF doesn't have money to clear a barrel to help children. They don't have money at the SSDF. Even their phones are being disconnected. They don't have money to buy fuel to put in the vehicles. They don't have money to even pay the staff workers. All for what? For the greed of Spider. So wala ka we moun. Yo ka bin pale akodi oh yo ka moun ka pay pou sa yo fe. Last year we me priele zot ko zot ek me yele lot moun. It is so wrong. And when I look at that and when you see how God, Gail, y'all really put Gail in a seat. Y'all really put listen, we are going to take we're going to take a break. We will be coming back with a very special guest, and we'll be talking about all sorts of things. But so I hope that you guys stay tuned for that. We will be right back.
Did you get the COVID-19 vaccine? Then you may experience one or a combination of side effects, or even no side effects at all. Side effects may include pain or tenderness in the area where you got the vaccine. You may also notice a little swelling or redness. To manage these, you may apply a clean, cool, wet washcloth or an ice pack over the area. Throughout your body, you may feel chills, fever, nausea, joint pain, tiredness, headache, or muscle pain. To manage this discomfort, you should get plenty of rest. Drink fluids, but avoid alcohol and caffeine. If you need to manage pain, you may take paracetamol, not aspirin. You may continue to take all medications prescribed for you for your health condition. Vaccinate. For you, for yours, for us.
We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated.
Nou ka mene vaksin lan kont COVID-19 an komi nou. Si ou pon vaksin lan, ou pe pat wape kor ou tan malade ke si ou pa pon. Ek jis sa bese asou ka COVID-19. Pon vaksin lan pou la vi set lisi viye normal anko. Visite page Facebook pou Bureau Edukasyon Santé ek Ministre pou Santé pou sab ki jou vaksin lan kanyan komi nou. An nou ede mene set lisi normal anko. Pon vaksin lan, ale vaksine.
Vaccinated.
Commission sa la sorti hot Bureau Éducation Santé ek Ministre pour Santé.
Sale. Anye ba oli a madame la? Bel piment, banan pou fè bouillon, jan mou.
Non merci, moi pas vle.
Sale. Give me your money and get my produce. Sale. Je moins $5 tout sel.
Mave.
Doni celery tilonyon. Sale. Cette liste, c'est moins disons.
Nous tous besoin de tourisme. C'est pas moun qui ka travaille en hôtel tout seul qui ka dépend en lay. À présent, bagay mauvais. Mais nous kay continuer planter et bagay kay vin meilleur. En nous vini ensemble. Supporter yon alot et goumer bagay pour vide ça là.
Vaccinate, wear a mask, wash your hands, and maintain a 6-foot distance. If we keep St. Lucia safe, we can keep our economy running.
You're watching UTV, TV for you.
I can't stay.
Coming soon. St. Lucia's General Elections 2021. Starring Neville Snack, Peter Josie, Clement Charlie Charles, Christopher Hunt, Sir Michael Chasney, Edmund Estefan, Kenny Anthony, Peterson Francis, Champagne, Alva Baptiste, Yadi, Shaheem, Guy Joseph, Stephenson King, Harold Stanislaus, Richard Frederick, KKRR, Alan Chasney, Gail Rickerbrot, Philip J. Pierre, Bradley Felix, Wayne Girard, and Dominic Fede. Who will win? Who will lose? Coming to a ballot box near you.
Welcome back to the show. As you could see, our special guest, Christopher Hunt, on the show. Welcome back. If you're not used to TV much, maybe you've forgotten how to be.
It's been a while. It's been a while. Buffett, I'm sorry, folks. I had my Je ne Creole tie, but it had green in it, so it would have messed up the graphics, so I had to change. I have a West Indies tie, and for those of you who woke up early this morning, how are you? Yes, but it's nice to be with you. I know a lot of people have been giving me a lot of crap and vexed because even though I said at the beginning of the show that it would only go up until three things would happen: either collapse of the government, an uprising of the people, or an election. And I said it throughout. Some people, in fact many people, still got vexed with me. when it came to an end.
But I don't know, you've been seeing the news, you've been seeing what people are saying. I think people would have just wanted your opinion on a lot of things.
Well,
we don't have enough time in the show, so but with what you've seen so far, what are your thoughts? Where do you think we're headed?
I think there's a problem in that good governance doesn't win elections anymore. And I think that the government that is in office right now, I mean, to be honest, the bar is not exactly high coming off of Shasney and the reprobate squad, but there are some things that people demand. One is people want to see justice. People have suffered for 5 years, plus they suffered even more in COVID when these guys even took more for themselves. I was just in Miku 2 days ago. I see Gail have another house there in Escap, right? So that's just one of them. I mean, Fede, all of these people need to be hauled before the courts. Shasney guy. And when people, I can tell you, when I said Shasney must go, I'm happy he's in Canada. He's a product of Canada. So I know that he'll be overseas. Didn't you think to yourself, didn't you learn in the sugar plantation days about the overseers that used to stay in Europe and let all the slaves keep working? What you think is happening with Champagne and them there? These guys are actually making $500 a month. All fellas like Herod Mary's crying, I don't know why I'm doing that for Shasney. I don't know. I listen to him myself. I know the worst part about it is E.T. Errol Thibbles, who's a guy who I disagree with him. I think he's a misogynist jackass, but at the end of the day, I mean, at least take care of the man. The man has COVID, and it's only Albert from Kibis that sent food for the man, that helped the man. The man is homeless, living at Cornerstone. Shasney, you and Guy, well, you can say your father bought it, but everybody knows your father, when you hold $1, the queen can't breathe. So there's no way he would have put his money in that radio station. Sky FM there is there reeling. You're paying the fellas $500 a month. And your fellas themselves, you Dr. Secretion, you literally are staying there. You know the amount of money those guys stole. You know the amount of money they put there. And the fellas cannot even do better than that for you all there now. And fealty seems to be that they are going to come up with all, because we're in an age now not of misinformation, disinformation. Just make up any shit and repeat it enough so that you can make it a fact. And I'll tell you something, whether people know it or not, Sky FM, just like Fox Radio, Fox TV, is creating an alternate reality. It is straight out of the Republican Cambridge Analytica playbook, and it is the biggest threat to St. Lucia, because you have a percentage of St. Lucians that are following in this reality, and these guys are making up their own shit as they go along.
With E.T., I know personally, because I think he called on the show once and said, oh, men hit the women. I think the show is ending today, but that was the only time I've ever hung up on anybody. And you are right, when you're talking about, you know, what does it take? What kind of person will do all of this work and still not be paid, and still they don't care? And you see, like I said, I saw people like Farah just coming out, while Shasney is not even there. And when we saw the WhatsApp status things from the Flubbo train, they want Felix, they want Bradley Felix to be leader. Who do you think? I mean, we've been asking people, I think the SLP supporters and people who view the show, they were giving some suggestions, trying to help the United Workers' Party in deciding who to make their leader.
First of all, I will tell you, I believe Shasney has a conflict, because he's vindictive, but he's also an opportunist. And there's no opportunity in St. Lucian politics for him for the next 3-4 years. So he's a con man. He was doing a regional tourism authority before he got into politics, because that was another one of his failures. So he came down here and he tried to insert himself in both parties, and he got a blight under UWP, because, as whether you all know it or not, Sir Michael offered Sir John Hedamountain $39,000, which for Michael Shasney is like saying $1 billion, for him to take on his son. And Sir John told me himself, right next to Janine, who can vouch for it, that he would keep Shasney in for 3 years, let him make some changes, but get him out after 3 years, because he will become a problem. And there you go, prophecy. But the fact of the matter is, Shasney right now is sitting on a load of money that he has managed to amass for himself, right? He and Guy were always working together, so they are sitting on huge sums of money. And that is why people require justice. The same way that they can arrest me for sitting in the backseat of a vehicle drinking water, I have no problem with getting a special prosecutor as quickly as possible and bringing these fellas, hauling them before the courts. I don't want Shasti to come back to St. Lucia to be in the house and grandstand. He can stay up in Canada, but come down to answer in the courts. Come down to answer. I want charges against Fede. I want against Estee. I want against Herod. I want against Gail. I want against Sarah. And I make no apologies for that, because in people's darkest hours, these people were still taking for themselves. How do you buy 2 villas at $1.3 million and the furniture and fixtures? You have another house down there. You think it's because you thief $5 million, you spend $5 million? You have to thief 30, 40, 50. It's as simple as that. And you can see garbage incinerators that were not even the right ones, and yet those incinerators are useless right now. They were overpriced by up to 40%. Where the money gone? We all know where it is. I'll tell you what I think Shasney is going to do. Shasney is going to come down here, beat around, use his revisionist history and his narcissistic tendencies to pretend that everything is the Labour Party's fault. And then he's going to give up to Bradley sometime next year or whenever. And he knows he'll give up to Bradley because he knows Bradley's a bois. So what he will do, he will allow Bradley to be the leader of the opposition. He'll come down once a year, because don't forget, he has repositioned himself and his family and friends to basically recolonize St. Lucia. So all of the assets, the land, all of the fisheries, all of these other things. Mate is already trying to get his people in terms of the unions to strike and all of that, because it's now about disruption. Why do you think people like the Beaufest man are coming back? That's what the whole thing is, to shake up, because the narrative is the Labour Party disintegrated in 79-82 so they can make it happen again. So that's the kind of crap Champagne and them are pumping. I also think Shasney will hold on to the Miku seat because, like the boy Justin Prudhomme told us, Tevin, sorry, the people down there are accustomed to getting nothing from us and just giving the money for society, and now the sister has all of it. So they were accustomed to getting nothing. So compared to him, Shasney is great for them, right? Now, even if it was corrupt and the same contracts thing, they will stay with Shasney, and Shasney will do nothing until it comes around to election time. He can come in the fourth year and tell Bradley, move, get out of my chair, take over leader of the opposition, and pretend that his big forte is that he can raise money. But just week before, I found out that the UWP head office had the electricity cut 8 times under Shasney. So it's all bluff, and people with slave mentalities that continue to endorse it. A man treat you like shit for 5 years. Discriminate against people. Introduce the Belrose doctrine unapologetically. We've seen the demise of people, because in every household, it's not just Labour or UWP. You have people in small communities you fragmented. But nonetheless, we rejected that. And the people demand justice. But I'll tell you the problem for this government. If you do not control the narrative will control you. So the problem is that while they are delivering good governance, while the socialist programs and the progressive programs may work, the fact of the matter is, in today's world, you have to be entertaining. The Labour Party and good governance generally is not entertaining.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah, Joe Biden could never run CNN ratings the way that Donald Trump does, because even if people love to hate them, they still watch. And the other problem is, how do you control the narrative? This thing about the fellas just come up and they just say, oh, Pip said $1,500, then you have to defend it. Oh, the people dying because y'all did not vote for Shasney, and Shasney is the chosen one. God that smite us. And then you have to respond. If you constantly responding, then you have a problem. Now look at the other side of the equation. Look at Richard Frederick. Richard Frederick is literally taking in front. He's announcing what he's doing. He's telling them ahead of time. And what they try and do, they try and take credit for things. Say Guy Joseph was going to do this and that and the other. So keep them on the back foot. The sad reality is, though, for all those who know all what we suffered and what we sacrificed, with you leaving today, me out of there, you have Yadi, Claudius, Calix George Jr. to an extent, but I mean, if the government doesn't see fit to bring in one of the brightest minds of his generation in to help, especially the new ministers like Kenson and what's his name, Starbach and so on, then I don't understand the human resource management there. But the bottom line is, and I'll say it as I see it, the Labour Party won without a clear, defined PR strategy. Now they are in government. To me, they desperately need, and I've heard you say it too, a PR strategy as a government, and they also need a PR strategy as a party. These little pissy, quippy things that Hilaire posted in Flabo Rara. You can't do that now. You are number 2 and you're minister. There must be the Labour Party doing what it's doing. The government does what it's doing. And then the third element is, who are the resources that you're going to have on the ground? Who are the talk show hosts and so on? Yadi cannot do it alone. Jaim cannot do it alone. Right? And then what's going to happen is, you're going to just keep defending. So for you now, you continued on after I stopped. How many guests did you get from government? How many from the party that won? How many?
None.
Okay. How many times did you get information sent to you so that you could get in front of a story and put out the true information of something that was being misled, or the people are being misled by Fede with now glasses? Cockalorum 2021.
I don't know what's that about with the glasses. Maybe trying to look smart.
The young girls getting smaller.
Sexy.
The young girls are more tiny, so he needs that.
No. I haven't gotten anything.
So then here's the question, folks. Timothy Polio, whether his government is in power or not, whether it's for Newsmaker Live, whether it's for Newspin, or whether it's because he, in a fake objective type of a way, will pretend that he's neutral, but is so deep in the UWP that he is actually wanted to be a candidate to run against Hilaire. He gets all of those people to at least give him information. You think when Rick Wayne calls Timothy, it's not coordinated, or what happens with Jukbois and the Beaufest man and all of these people is not coordinated? But here you have a government like the Labour Party that's in office, and they will not even take advantage of the fact that they have people who rallied with them and at least give you the information, give you the support, give you something to go on. So here you are, and that is a lack of, well, for me, a lack of a strategy. And if there was one, all I can tell you is I wasn't part of it. So were you?
I wasn't.
There you go. So here we are.
And, I hope that, and I'm guessing a lot of people are hoping too, that people will see some kind of change, something is going to happen. And people say, oh, it's still early, Trisha, you're just not patient. That they have a kind of people talking, people...
I will quote,
I don't know what else to say.
No, I'll stop you there. I'll quote Yadi for you. It's just 3 months, it's just 4 months, it's just 6 months. First of all, you can only say it's just 6 months 9 times, and then you're out of office on the 10th time. That's first of all. Second of all, you have sensed a sense of urgency because you have done things like the laptops, the 4,000 laptops that you're bringing in, the reprieve on the rent, the facilities fees. Because the truth is, it's not 3 months. People have been suffering for 5 years and 3 months. And the worst part is we keep talking about the it's not just that. We have made the UWP and the Chasney made people poor, and a lot of people have been hanging on by a thread. So it's not just the lower class. The middle class has been destroyed. What is the upper class of businesses that are going out of business? High-end restaurants, small restaurants, bars, everybody is feeling it. So the help cannot come fast enough, and people are just clinging on. So your agitations may well be what's necessary, because these guys are inundated. They're getting each minister there, whether it's Kenson or it's Richard or it's Virginia Albert, they're getting 500 people messaging them a day. They have requests, can you help me get a job for this one, that one here? Oh, and by the way, folks, I'll have you know that while the transitioning has been going extremely slowly with regard to bringing in key people for this government so that it can affect its agenda with people who are motivated and qualified, at the exact same time, the UWPs are saying, oh, job for the boys, I want job for the boys. In the meantime, they are working all the back channels with all of their dirty senior public servants and so on to see how they can bring in people that were in Chasney constituency office and in Ezekiel office. If you can get them a job as administrative secretary or this, that, and the other, I hear you'll have places, and see if you can push that. And they're not above calling our ministers or the ministers that are there, or Stevenson King or Richard Frederick or Sean or whoever. They don't care because they're shameless. So,
but we've spoken about it too here. I've spoken about the permanent secretaries and everything else. Can we expect something to be done about that?
I'll be honest with you. In a way, I was upset before, but I'm happily disconnected because I don't know. I am still dumbfounded. Who's the Governor General? If it's not my father, then who is it? And has anybody even called him to tell him, Sir Julian, out of respect for you, we are looking for somebody younger or maybe older than Snack, I don't know, or whoever this person is. Don't you think it's about time? Come on, that's like decision number one. You're not rotating your minister, your permanent secretaries, so that those who are doing all of the misdeeds are not there to cover up their tracks. Okay. You have the same cabinet secretary that Shasney had, that he brought out of retirement. That's how highly they thought of him as a UWP operative. Okay, well, you might as well just put Shasney on video phone, on WhatsApp, and let him sit there. But hey, I'm just the idiot jackass that you all said, oh, he's a spoiled child. I'm Christopher Fingy, right about everything. So no problem. I let y'all do y'all do. Wherever I am called, I will go and work. Wherever I'm not called, all I can tell you is, don't blame me if people feel disconnected, because there's a lot of professionals who are sitting out there, and the first signal they got was when you went down to St. Jude's, and you went down with a man who has a company, Teams Inc., that is getting direct awards and DVRP contracts, and who is also a public servant in a direct conflict of interest, that being Saint-Ville, to lead a tour. Now, I don't mind him even leading the tour, but while he's leading the tour, why wouldn't you have Mark Hennicat right there, John Peters right there? Yes, you sent him after the fact, but what is that? Why not have the fellas there? One time, Calix George Jr. found out while he was on air. That ain't making no sense to me. And in the same token...
He told you that?
Huh? I'm telling you, yes, of course he told me that. There's the same day he messaged me, same way John Peters messaged, what's going on down there? That's the part of having... There is no leader, whether it is Tony Blair, whether it is Barack Obama, whether it is Joe Biden, that does not have their brain trust front and center. Shasney, well, you know his lack of brain, so he needed a brain trust, albeit a nefarious one. And you can only go as far as your advisors. But if you've seen people coming into office and they kowtowing to the same senior public servants that bought 12 shredders, that go and sign documents, handwritten checks for Maloney and Baloney, what's his name, Thief Money, Mangal, and all of those things, then I don't know what you need again, bruh. To me, I'm my special prosecutor there, and I move in. But it's okay. It's okay. All I will tell you is, if you do not control the narrative will control you.
We'll open the lines now. We'll open for calls at 572-7588. But for you, Chris, I wanted to end the show in much the same way that we started. We started together. For what you've just said, for those that have said, oh, Tresha is against the SLP now because she's criticizing, or she won't want the job, or whatever is being said, and people will hear you now and say, oh, you're bitter. Or you're bitter, or that sort of thing. What would be your response to that?
Okay, first of all, in St. Lucia, we have been socialized to be two-dimensional. So a lot of the people who will praise me now couldn't stand me when I was doing the staff party. Right? Once you do not fall exclusively into one category or another, basically there's no third option. There is no green party of independent thought. It must conform in the mind. You have to have ulterior motive. Oh, it must be your father, it must be your mother. Somebody's bitter, somebody's that and the other. I was very lucky that I was spoiled by doing Lucians into being liberated, into being able to see and speak a truth, right? And I just don't want to give that up. So I've always said, I've said it to the current Prime Minister. I never bothered to tell Alan that because Alan is narcissistic on that level. But I always believe a good friend stabs you in the front. I rather tell you what you're doing wrong early, you fix it, same way I rather you tell me. There's a guy down on Barron's Drive, I forget his name, short little Indian fella. When I came down there the last week and we were doing the broadcast, mate cursed me on my mother so much, I thought they used to be dating. Mate cursed me so much. But you know what the truth was? I felt so good to have that man cursing me. Because when a man curses you, you know it's true. When somebody's kissing your ass, you're not sure. Even now as I'm working with government and people come, Mr. Hunt, I'm uncomfortable. But you see when somebody tell me, yeah, you jackass, I'm actually more comfortable with that.
And perhaps you've gotten used to that kind of...
Well, there you go. But my point in all of this is that I felt it is most important to tell everybody the truth as I saw it. I could be right, I could be wrong. And I think you are following in the same vein. And you, in St. Lucia, if you're going to do anything of consequence, you have to be content to be misunderstood.
Yeah. I think we have a call on hold. Good afternoon, caller.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Is there something laughable about my voice or something? Christopher just stopped to laugh.
No, it's because I have a video clip of you that I'm going to put out in 2023 or 2024. You know, that's why I just remember that.
Let me tell you something. Them kind of blackmail strategies.
I told you already, it's not blackmail,
And
it's shabby
me-
mail. Okay? Right.
I have a kind of million saved in the bank, okay?
Okay.
And I'm shameless. But, guys, this is so instructive. If all of us are seeing the same issues, the same major problems, the government and the party, why is the party dragging its feet and the government dragging its feet? Communication is key. You think United Workers Party has any authority to have anything called a press conference, let alone to discuss the issues that they raised yesterday? Now, mind you, I don't know half of what they spoke about. Is Tresha, just like Christopher, used to impose them things on me. And I know I must stomach the embarrassment to listen to these people. You know UWP never cared about the poor, nah? And they come in there and they want to direct this government. Was they not just in government 3 months ago? Weren't they in government for years and 2 months and they did not give a crap about the poor? Haven't poor people been suffering almost 6 years?
Caller,
Didn't they know about COVID? Wasn't COVID during that time and they had to reach out? And when the lady from the CDC with a business called and said that Mr. Shasney is God, not in so many words, and then she said to Mr. Shasney that she's a supporter of his party and she's calling him to ask him to do something for her, them, in the CDC with businesses who have been going through this shit since the start of COVID. And the man openly, publicly dismissed the lady as an SLP claiming to be a UWP. And now you'll come in and pretend to care. According to Shasney, and now you want to behave like you care? Listen, SLB, do what you must for the people of this country, because your tagline was putting people first. We recognize, we see, we notice, we observe, and we will feel that you are putting the people first. But we do not want you to be controlled where the narrative is concerned. Control the narrative. Get your people who are supposed to push your agenda out, put them out now. They should have been identified long before elections in the event of the victory, which you saw was coming. But you have not done that. So now is the appropriate time. Stop.
Caller, let me try to get... Yes. Chris, I think Chris wanted to say something.
My only point I wanted to make, caller, because I know we have a lot of calls that are on hold there now, is that the UWP's superpower has been shamelessness. So never ever think they're going to lack for shame. Look, even on the timeline there, you've seen somebody there, Maximiku, talking a bunch of rubbish. But at the end of the day, that's their forte. They lie so much that they even lie to themselves. That's why they rather stay in denial than actually face the painful truths of what they did wrong. Now, my problem is that the only thing that we have to control the narrative is to get the truth and to get the truth out first. And you must have a strategy for that. But caller, I know you have callers.
Meanwhile,
caller, I think I can't tell you can call on Monday.
I know.
But
I want to go, Tresha.
Okay, but
I also want to leave you with a coffee and the pussy. Bye.
What? I think I have enough of both.
I'm hoping it's the cat that is by Banker Solution.
Let's take the call. You see how they go play the cat. Let's take the call. Good afternoon. A coffee and a cat.
That's not what she said.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Christopher, welcome back on television, my brother.
Thank you.
Yes, brother. Boy, there's so much to say. Trisha, sorry. Good afternoon, my darling, my sister.
Oh, yeah, I realize. It's okay. Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Don't dig nothing.
I ain't digging nothing.
Celebrities on your show, you know you will be neglected, so don't dig nothing. But it is sad to hear that you're going to be going.
Yeah.
But there's so much to be said, man. I mean, like I always tell people, when the Labour Party wins, they will be hated. Because the amount of crap they have to put up with and try and fix things, they will be chastised, they will be hated. And then I'm not putting pressure on any of the ministers, on the Prime Minister, but I honestly think that they're taking too long to put things in order and to, put some people in jail.
Special prosecutor, caller. Special prosecutor. Right?
Yeah, because
each of those former ministers should have at least 3-4 cases and charges filed. And if Shasta, I don't want Shasta to come back. If he come back, go straight to the courthouse, man. It's right there. Go straight to the courthouse.
I also want to, say bravo to Mr. Richard Frederick and the other ministers that have been putting their best foot forward to do what they're supposed to be doing. I honestly thought that Fresh Start would be fired a long time ago from doing the hospital review for a long time. Just tell me, you know what, you guys have been pussyfooting, so we need you all to, we are going to fire you all, get somebody else. This is crazy. So, and I don't want anybody saying that every Sunday, everybody have to go to church with Sarah. That's what we're supposed to do, Like Tresha was saying, the pastor in Soufre, talking about who going in Kaigat and who going and take grave. Man, if you're not dealing with these things, you will not know about these things.
Well, caller, while I will tell you, that's why my pastor has always been Tenderoni. But I will also tell you that as far as I am concerned, this will get worse. It will get worse if we do not deploy resources to deal with that.
The out there, they spin a lot of shit. A lot of them talking a lot of nonsense, poisoning the minds of a lot of young people and elderly people as well.
Yes.
Those are the people that are confused on what to believe, especially about the vaccine. You don't know what to believe. You're afraid. And these idiots out there just spinning nonsense, man. I tell you, it's people like y'all, Yadi, and a few others that are just trying to do the utmost best to enlighten the population of St. Lucia. But to no avail, that you guys have to go. You have your own lives to live, and I don't know, we just could do what we can. And I mean, all the best to you guys. Christopher, good luck in your future endeavors. Tresha, you as well.
Thank you.
Trisha, I'll call you after the show. We spoke about something. We need to talk again.
Yeah.
But I mean, all the best to you guys, man. And we'll just try our best.
Thank you very much, caller. Appreciate that. Do you have another call? With Christopher, what did you...
She's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, and nobody can deny.
Why y'all insist on doing that? Thanks, guys.
She's a jolly good fellow.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Okay, I did not see that coming.
While we're taking calls. Yes.
So I'm the co-host now.
Yes, you're the co-host now.
We just want to say on behalf of UTV that we're going to miss you.
Okay.
We wish you all the best in your endeavors. I'm really going to miss all our laughing and our kiki. And
thank you very, 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 very much. You have to stay with me?
No, I want to say something.
Hi. I think you're the mic. Okay, guys, this is live. You know already.
That is it.
Hey, let me put. Okay,
hold on to this right there.
I just want to say that I'm going to miss you.
Thank you very much.
I miss your English and your patois and the way you switch and the way you carry yourself. Oh my gosh, we are going to miss you. You have fans like you don't know.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All the best in your endeavors.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Okay, so you want me to drink on
marinate the chef. That's what it is. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, guys, what's up, so your idea? Me Tresha like a boy warm by everything. Oh, non-alcoholic. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. I have had such a great time.
Hold on.
Oh, guys.
For the alcohol, I don't understand. You don't have no chairmans there? Well, you want a scotch? Okay. Well, chairmans, as the late Laurie Barnard said,
oh my
is the
God.
brandy of rebels. So.
Okay. Christopher.
Yes. No, well, let us make a toast to Tresha. Folks, I hope you'll join me in wishing her all the best as an island scholar who literally took time out of her life to dedicate to a cause greater than herself. When we talk about young people who actually put their country first and everything else that has to happen, I want to applaud her. It definitely was not easy to be targeted, to be victimized, to have your family put under pressure, to have you be under constant threat, her safety, to have people wanting to spit at her, and then have pricks like Fede not even defend the media as a former media person. To go through all of that just to get a chance at good governance, to get a chance to get St. Lucia back to normal, to rescue the country. All of the people that come and threaten you when you go in and climb in the pitos that's supposed to be your heritage, all of the time spent and the sleepless nights going through clips and having people threaten you. Every other week is a lawsuit. Now it's Minerva, next thing is that one. And then the same people that you get into office, they themselves questioning everything that you're doing. And all this time to stay the course. So folks, I really I hope that you join me in saying thank you to Tresha on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Tresha. Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Like apple juice, eh? I don't understand.
Yeah,
I take more. That can't do me nothing.
Okay, my hands are shaking.
Yes, you're shaking. We make you nervous. Very interesting.
I have another call.
You have this is. You have
I have flowers too.
You have flowers too. So.
Okay, so what do I say?
What do you say? Okay, this is extemporaneous. You just do what you have to do, spontaneous. This is your last show, so you're supposed to tell people what would you like people. You want me to interview you?
Yeah, interview me because my mind is all over.
So
the place.
let's go through what was let's do this properly.
Yeah.
What was the best thing? What was the best part of the entire journey in terms of the show?
I cannot point one thing, but I do know that over a year in the show.
A year and a half.
And I remember when I first started, and I was nervous, and I have a thing when I do with my feet when I'm nervous, and the carpet goes all over the place, and I do all that kind of stuff. But I remember the first day, I don't know if you remember, but you were kneeling down and trying to give me water because I was so nervous on the first day of the show. And as it progressed, I felt like I was getting more courage and being more brave, and even with some of the support. So I have to say, this show has completely change the way I think about things, and even when you see things that are wrong, to be brave enough to stand up and talk about it or stand up for something, and even knowing too that you will be misunderstood by people, and people will look for everything, and you have to be comfortable in your past too and not let it hinder you as well. So this show has done a lot of that for me, and I have to say too, that's why I wanted you on the show on the last day, that a lot of it wouldn't have happened without you, and the way that you deal with a lot of the issues, it's really called out to me, and it forces people. I think that's what people find. You make people uncomfortable because you force them to look inwardly on, like, you could do something about something. What are you doing about it? So that's what I see.
So, the one thing that I want to let everybody know, I was born and raised in the public eye. Compton is your uncle and Hunt is your father. That's basically UWP, Labour. You know, whereas people have ketchup and pepper, that's what I had on my table. I've always said that. And you who are not necessarily in the public eye, although you were in the media and you're Island Scholar and you went and you're a journalist and so on, but to be front and center and be a target, to be attacked, to see your family be afraid and then to see them have to weather the storm with you. One thing I will say, folks, when I got my death threats and I went, because I just didn't like, I'm accustomed to death threats, I just didn't like the part where you're calling my mother. And when some of you pricks were talking about how they should take my mother out of the house and beat her and rape her and stuff like that, to me that was overboard. She didn't like it that much either, just so it's said. But at least my father always said that we were conditioned foot soldiers. We knew how to deal with it. So for me it's kind of second nature, but for you. And the one thing that I will tell you, and even as I've been off the air, now I'm around with all the town and village councils, and I was in Morgouge on last week Thursday, and then I'm in Ancillary, I'm in Canaries, I'm all over Babono, and I'm on the ground more. There is a richness of goodwill that you have that you may not know is there. People who don't necessarily have money, but they love you, and the best part is you gave them your genuine self, so that they don't have to, it's not something where they're in love with something or they love something that is like a fake you, right? It's difficult. A lot of people do come on air, you know, the fake laugh, you know, the doctor beat, ha ha ha, that type of a thing, but you gave them your authentic self. Folks, did you not realize, it was actually Jerry George that pointed this out, that somehow psychologically in St. Lucia, in the same way we stopped speaking patois in the house around Chasney, do you notice that patois is either spoken only in the morning or only in the night? Mainstream doesn't. And you were apologizing for that, or made to apologize for that, and now it's your forte. These kinds of things, the paradigm shifts, are great. What is important now, more than anything else, I hope, is that quickly people will come to take the baton and move forward. So, what's your closing message to all the people? Because I don't know, I have to be drinking bubbly apple juice like Joe there now.
I just want to say thank you. Thank all of you for the support. I've learned so much that I probably wouldn't have learned if I hadn't done this. But I just want to say thank you to my grandmother. Mama, thank you very much. Thank you for the wisdom, and my mother as well. I'm so lucky to be surrounded by so many beautiful and really strong women that they didn't, you know, plan on this, on, you know, when people see my mother and saying, oh, Pauki Mama Trisha, because they have a way when they're telling you things, you're not Trisha anymore, it's not Tresha, it's Trisha. And she says that she's very proud of me, and I need to let you know, if I become half the woman that you are, I have done well, and I want to thank you very much for it, and my entire family, and my auntie daughter, my sisters, all of you, my father also, for showing me and teaching me what it is to, you know, be strong in all of it. So thank you all very, very, very much. I don't know what I don't know what to say, but that's where I am. Is that it? Are we done with the show? Are we taking calls?
Sell by night, they probably tell the people your parting thing, you know, Buffett, all the rest of that.
Oh yeah, that.
I have to go and get herring there just now.
Yeah, so I have this. I don't know whether they could see it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that looks nice. Yes. So I think it is great that I would never want to end and want to continue, but, you know, I hope to go out and do what I have to and come back and, you know, give some kind of to give something else. I know we've spoken about the problems, and I've spoken about it so much. I think I want to be part of the solution. So with that in mind, I will set off and I'll come back and see Bodevle, God's blessings, and thank you for your blessings too. I remember people have prayed for me, and that's one of those things that will stay with me on the show as well. So I think it's a good thing that we have spoken about what it is to be St. Lucian, what it means to be patriotic, what it means to truly have a love for country, and to end on Journée Creole, where we are celebrating that in an unapologetic way. I think it's a good day. I think it's a good note to end on, and I do wish you Bonne Fête Creole. Enjoy in all the ways that you should, while trying to maintain the protocols that I put there on Sunday, and of course you guys have today and tomorrow, but let us enjoy, let us celebrate, and I wish you guys all the best.
There you go.
I think this is it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I can't stay.